Baby Keem's debut, like proper LP skis.
Proper LP. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Melodic Blue. It is 16 songs, 53 minutes long. And we reviewed the single with alleged family member Kendrick Lamar, Family Ties, which we both thoroughly enjoyed. I've been listening to that song a bit. I like how it's like, you get that three songs in one almost. And then I was interested to hear this in the context of an album. And this album is interesting to me because there's some of this I really, really like, and there's some of this that I absolutely fucking hate. So I want to hear what Dan has to say because I'm very interested in this.
I liked a lot of it, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm very much like mid about. Like, I didn't really like hate anything on here. Especially, I think I give a lot of credit. I think I give a lot more leeway to people's first albums, especially when there's a lot on those first albums that are good. I allow a lot more missteps.
Yeah.
There's definitely nothing I absolutely hated, but there are certain like songs that I'm like blasting and bumping a lot more that I absolutely love. And then there are certain songs where just like there's a difference in the level of quality that I can definitely attest with you there on.
Yes, you could definitely tell difference in quality in certain tracks. And there's some stuff even in the lyrics, the production, everything that's wrapped up into a couple songs, you could tell the difference between it's definitely the quality between them because there would be to me a pretty big drop off on certain tracks, and then other tracks it'll be the exact opposite.
I'll say this to start as we jump into the like how the album begins. I'll say that those inconsistent parts happen in phases because the album is actually like pretty well laid out. The songs flow in well together. You feel like you go through different things, and again, to kind of tip things off, Baby Keem's doing a little bit of a trap and B thing sometimes, a very light trap and B. Like there's some singing here over some like melodic trap tones, but mostly what you're getting here is rapping, like trap beats that are pretty hard. Like this is LA we're dealing with here. So I mean, not to like over rep our city here, but I'll just say like in doing this podcast for so long, the West Coast and LA specifically like produced things in trap. Not always, but to me are more consistent. To me, they're production-wise a lot more tight and consistent. Sometimes you get better experimentation from the South in like Houston and Atlanta, and definitely there's a lot has to be said about the Midwest, but the production is always very tight with this. But you get mostly rap over trap music that's very production tight, but a little bit of trap and B here, which if I'm guessing maybe that's where Sean kind of like falters with some of the parts of the album here.
Yeah, exactly. That's yep, spot on. You've been doing this podcast too long.
Yeah, well, I know you.
Because for me, that's where it feel like a little derailed here or there, where you get to some parts of the trap and B. It just felt misplaced. Is my biggest thing because he did do a lot of it where there's a lot of tracks that had like Family Ties, where you have a couple tracks in one. Like Trademark USA has that. I do like that. I do like how that track starts out, opens up the album because it gives you a good idea of how it's going to be. But then with Range Brothers featuring Kendrick, like it felt a little bit long with how that track went. And then you have some others throughout the album where they're split up, and sometimes they're split up and it works very well. And other times they feel way too inconsistent within one track, and it can feel like it throws it off here or there. That's my big complaint.
Yeah. I like there's some songs that are like really kind of more instrumental focused, but they're really cool, and you get like almost similarly to how in Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, the Little Sense project from last week that we reviewed, you get like the really most introspective parts of Baby Keem in these really short interlude songs like Scapegoats, for example. And I love how it kind of ends with this nice sort of like simple piano thing that's very like quiet, muted, melodic kind of thing. Well, like right after he's going into this thing that's very introspective about himself and how he goes about how he looks at life, how he deals with his family, all these different kind of things. And it leads really nicely into Range Brothers, which, I think is a really well bloated song, top of the morning. But I also think that it has a lot of good in there when you get past that. Like it's got banger qualities. It does the kind of like pomp and circumstance that you really appreciate in a trap song, much like Kendrick Lamar, actually not much like, but akin to Kendrick Lamar's collaboration with J-Rock doing Win. Not quite as I mean, barely a collaboration. It was more like he was doing ad-libs in the background. But similar kind of it literally was that. And it's going for that same kind of tone, right? Definitely doesn't achieve the same kind of thing, but you can definitely get like a this is Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem flexing together and having a good time. Range Brothers referring to like having Range Rovers together, and I think they're actually like doing like Rover Brothers and the things there. So that's a fun vibe there. But even that, like getting into the idea of the entire album doing a good like sequencing together, that perhaps bloated song segues nicely into Issues, Gorgeous South Africa Lost Souls, which is a good collection of songs together, like they're in the right place. But that might be the part where, like, okay, it starts to drone on with Baby Keem's like auto-tuney, croony kind of deal he's trying to
Yeah.
do that hasn't really gotten quite like,
I
he
still
hasn't
don't.
worked
I've
out
never.
yet.
Yeah, I've never really liked it in general. Like that could be an issue. That's an issue with me with Swemmerd and a couple other artists and stuff when they have that whiny, high pitched auto-tuned voice. If they keep doing that like consistently throughout tracks, then to me it really it gets to me a bit too much. Even like with the track or like with Issues, it's a little bit better of a track right after Range Brothers. Even though to me it feels out of place on this record. At least with there, you get a really good voice and it changes it up for that part. And then after like that collection, you have going down towards the middle, you have Coco with Don featuring Don Toliver. You don't have that many features, by the way. You only have Kendrick, Don Toliver, and Travis Scott.
Kendrick twice though.
Yes, Kendrick twice. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But I actually like this song Coco with Don Toliver. I thought it was decent, at least production wise.
Yeah. The track Do Rag Activity, I do enjoy. It's a very simple track. Almost like I want to say Kenny Beats like in its production, where it's sort of light and electronic and melodic kind of in the background, where it's mostly in the 808s, essentially that song. It's mostly just the bass of it. And you just have this like light sort of synthesizer mood thing in the background, if anything. But no, it goes hard. Travis Scott pairs it back a little. Yeah, no. Travis Scott pairs back the it's lit and all that stuff. He just does the kind of whoa thing kind of in the background, which that's kind of like it goes back to tribal chants with Africa and like slave chants to like stuff you did in hip hop. Like it sounds pretty good. Like I like the way Travis Scott layers that.
That's the first Travis Scott feature I've heard or track this year that is actually good. Everything else I've heard, like we've been ragging on him all year. We're just like, you're rehashing the same thing over and over again. And it was cool maybe 3-4 years ago, but now it's overdone. And now like on Do Rag Activity, at least he did something a little bit different, and I ended up really liking that track.
Yeah. What did you think of the song after that, Boom Man?
Boom Man.
Yeah.
I always read it wrong. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, that
like,
feel like
I really like the like towards the end of it. Granted, this is a short song or throughout the track. I like the trumpets part in it. It's interesting how the production is, but it can feel a little cheap to me at times.
Yeah, I felt like that was one of the songs where that was one of the songs where you felt the most like production wise they didn't like stretch it out enough. There are some songs where like went all in and like what kind of flares can we do throughout the song to make this interesting, to continue to like give it some style here, whether it's Travis Scott's things.
The last two tracks you get that on, but Boom Man is like just a throwaway track to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt as well. There's also South Africa as well, kind of earlier in there.
Yeah.
In that collection of songs where he's kind of just like singing sort of and also trying to rap in it. It's just not great. I don't like the balance of it. I think maybe it's something he practices and owns into a little bit more, because like rappers doing like singing parts, which are now like kind of like a thing that I think this generation is trying to do a lot more of to kind of balance both. Some these rappers just can't sing, honestly, like at all. And so
which is fine. Like you don't have to do it at all.
Yeah, you either like kind of have to like lean into it, or like one of the legends, MF Doom, did, and it was like all like gravelly and raspy and just wild all the time, and he kind of played off as like, hey, I'm a drunk ass villain character and I'm like kind of wild. Or you kind of go into it like Vince Staples, where like he can, not hitting all the notes perfectly, but like pairs himself with other like singers who can do that role really nicely, and then like he can kind of meet up to their level almost, or at least enough to where it matches. Maybe
not everybody's going to be Drake.
Yeah. Maybe Baby Keem can get to that point at some point, but not to the Drake level. Because Drake does have some like vocal talent, some.
He
Um,
definitely does.
but yeah, I just wish you had little bit fewer of those songs like South Africa or Boo Man, and a little bit more of the songs where you're getting uh the best distillation of all of that. But that being said, like of rap projects this year, this is one
It's
of my
decent.
favorites actually. Like
Yeah.
not but beyond decent, it's like one of my favorites for
I
like the
mean, my
songs where it's doing
my
things right.
favorites are definitely I like Tyler's record. I like Vince Staples' project and a couple others, but I think this one's all right.
This is on the like this isn't like this isn't on the top end of those favorites. Like it's not beating any of those. But like if
Yeah.
I were making like what are your top five, maybe top seven rap albums of
Oh
this
yeah,
year, it'd be
like
like
easy
fifth
and
or seventh. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it'd definitely cap it out for sure. This is one of the better ones, and for like a first LP effort, like even
Yeah.
better. Yeah, because the rest have been mixtapes, and they've been like, you're kind of getting on there, but the LP is like when you're really making the big deal, and like it's didn't feel too long, other than like the bits where it felt too long. And yeah, I felt like it was a good project. So arbitrary scale this week is U.S. steel companies. Why? No reason. I don't know. So this
Because we do it every week is arbitrary scale because ratings don't matter and because Peppa Pig beat Donda, so it really doesn't give we really don't care. So we just make it up as we go.
yeah,
Why not?
I'm gonna give this just based on estimated sales and overall. Well, this is a newcomer with some good sales. We're gonna give this a Saber Steel. It was founded relatively recently, but it has like the sales figures of like some of the older giants, like Eastern Steel, A1 Alloys, etc. So they're definitely making. I don't know if they're great at their job, but they're probably getting some really high level clients, maybe some taller buildings, let's say, and so they're making their money that way.
Yeah, this is an Advantage Metal Services Incorporated. Shout out South Almani. Just because maybe they got some contracts on some like interesting shaped buildings and some other things. So they got some decent estimated sales as well. Just depending if it's up year or down year. I mean, shipping costs are up, so maybe they're getting a little more coin in their bag. You never know.
Yeah, LA born and raised, so you gotta like shout out that. Perfectly good steel.
Yeah.
Great steel even.